This is America in the Morning from Westwood One. Good morning, I'm John Trout. It's Wednesday, January 22nd, 2025. Here's what's coming up on America in the Morning.
Reactions on both sides of the aisle to President Donald Trump pardoning the majority of January 6th rioters.
It's obscene.
100% I'm for the pardon every one of them.
I'm Jim Roope.
Snow blankets the deep south, leading to a winter wonderland and dangerous conditions. Julie Walker has an update.
New Jersey and more than a dozen other states are challenging President Donald Trump's executive order of birthright citizenship. I'm Haya Panjwani.
President Trump has ordered a sweeping dismantling of the federal government's diversity and inclusion programs. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
On Wall Street, a winning day for stocks yesterday, and Netflix subscription prices are going up. I'm Jessica Ettinger.
President Trump reportedly cutting off Secret Service protection for one of his former advisors. I'm Clayton Neville.
All ahead on America in the Morning. The president is defending his decision, but reactions vary on Donald Trump's pardoning of some 1,500 people convicted in the wake of the January 6, 2021 Capitol riot. Jim Roope reports.
Even on the GOP side of the aisle, there has been sharp criticism for the pardons. Alaska's Lisa Murkowski says that she's quote-unquote disappointed in Mr. Trump's move. Louisiana Republican Senator Bill Cassidy says, quote, it's not right. People who assault police officers, if they do the crime, they should do the time, end quote. Both senators voted to impeach Mr. Trump during his 2021 Senate impeachment trial. Other Republicans say they're okay with the pardons. Alabama Senator Tommy Tuberville.
100% I'm for the pardon every one of them. They've been there long enough.
Tuberville claims he did not see any police officer being assaulted on that day, even with so many videos of that day online and seen on TV. Texas Senator John Cornyn says it's not about whether he agrees or disagrees with the pardons.
As I said, it's the president's prerogative.
Are you comfortable with that, though? Does that send the right message from your party?
That's not the question. The question is who has the authority, and the president has the authority.
As we can assume, Democrats are critical of the pardons, with Senator Chuck Schumer calling it un-American.
Let's be clear. President Trump didn't just pardon protesters. He pardoned some people convicted of assaulting police officers in seditious conspiracy. It's a betrayal of the highest order of our Capitol police officers, who risk their lives to keep us safe.
Senator Adam Schiff simply calls it...
It's obscene. It's a grotesque display of his new power as president.
What do the police officers say who were there on that day? Former D.C. officer Michael Fanone tells CNN.
Rest assured, I have been betrayed by my country.
Mr. Trump signed the executive order pardoning the defendants he often called hostages. He said, too, he signed commutations for the sentences of 6 of the defendants.
I thought their sentences were ridiculous and excessive. One of the guys took down a flag that was an anti-American flag, and he was given years in jail. I don't know the exact number, but he was given many years in jail. I thought it was very excessive.
I'm Jim Roope.
Dangers in the Deep South as it looked like a blizzard in the French Quarter of New Orleans as people from Texas to Georgia are dealing with something they rarely see in their lifetime, heavy snow and icy weather. Correspondent Julie Walker reports while some are enjoying the change of pace, for others, the situation is life-threatening.
Okay. In New Orleans, people were out and about in the snow, up to 8 inches forecast for some parts of the Gulf states from Texas to the Florida Panhandle. King Prince was on Bourbon Street taking pictures.
This is my first time seeing all this snow. I don't travel during the winter because I don't like snow. I don't like cold weather. But it's been beautiful. I've never seen the city look like this before. I've just been walking around taking pictures, taking videos, things like that. Seen a lot of more people than I thought would be outside out here.
Amy Welch also says she's never experienced snow like this in New Orleans.
I just had to get out and experience it because we don't ever get snows like this, hardly ever, and it's just so beautiful. And we've been sitting inside drinking coffee and eating and wanted to come outside and just experience it. And the dogs wanted to get out here and play in it. It makes you feel like a kid again.
A rare frigid storm charging through Texas and the northern Gulf Coast all the way to the Florida Panhandle, closing highways, grounding nearly all flights in some areas, and canceling school for millions of students.
Get prepared to be in your house, in your residence, in your warming place for the next 48 hours. We think maybe the freezing temperatures will never get above freezing until probably Thursday. So don't let even clear skies on Wednesday and other days fool you. This is a serious Arctic blast. It's dangerous. It's life-threatening.
Heavy snow, sleet, and freezing rain expected to move eastward through the region into Wednesday. I'm Julie Walker.
Houston's two major airports and New Orleans International canceled more than 90% of their flights Tuesday. About 400 flights in Atlanta were delayed, according to FlightAware. Authorities say travel along Interstate 10 from Texas to Florida will be dangerous to impossible for the next few days. Birthright Citizenship. States sue the feds. When America in the Morning continues after these messages. This is America in the Morning. Update on that storm system in the south. Here's AccuWeather.com meteorologist Matt Rindy.
The incredible storm moving through the Gulf Coast. States will be exiting first thing this morning with a little leftover snow and sleet through portions of the southeast coast from North Carolina into Florida. Even as wintry precipitation comes to an end, there'll still be some rain continuing along with the cold front through central and southern Florida. In the wake of the system, it is going to remain cold for the rest of the eastern part of the nation from the southeast into the eastern Great Lakes and continuing into the northeast. Most areas outside of the Great Lakes will have plenty of sunshine, but afternoon temperatures will only climb into the single digits and teens in parts of New England, into New York, and just 20s and 30s through the Ohio Valley into much of Mississippi, Alabama, and Georgia, though a few 40s may also sneak in. This is about 10 to 20 degrees below the historical average. There will be a clipper system moving through the northern plain states from northern Minnesota into northern Wisconsin and Michigan. This will produce a little bit of snow along its path. Some snow showers will extend farther south along the cold front through parts of eastern Nebraska, Iowa, northern Missouri, and northern Illinois. However, this will lessen the lake effect snow for a time, offering a chance to clean up after another round of 2 to 3 feet of snow. Another system dipping southward from Canada will lead to some snow showers through the eastern parts of Montana and Wyoming into the Dakotas and western Minnesota. And there will also be a few snow showers through Wyoming and Colorado, but the rest of the West will be seeing drier weather and afternoon temperatures will be running near the historical average. That's the weather across America. Nashville, Tennessee will have plenty of sunshine today, but a cold afternoon with a high of 35. Des Moines, Iowa will have more clouds and some snow moving through today with a high around 30. That's the nation's weather. I'm AccuWeather.com meteorologist Matt Rindy.
Follow us wherever you get your podcasts, Apple, Spotify, Amazon, and YouTube. Just search America in the Morning in your favorite listening app. I'm John Trout. Saying all citizens born in the United States are citizens of this nation, more than 20 states are suing the Trump administration over his executive order regarding birthright citizenship. Correspondent Haya Panjwani reports.
New Jersey and more than a dozen other states are challenging President Donald Trump's executive order ending the constitutional guarantee of birthright citizenship.
Presidents in this country have broad powers, but they are not kings.
New Jersey Democratic Attorney General Matt Platkin.
The executive order renders many children born on American soil without citizenship, creating for the first time a class of American-born children whose health and well-being are threatened by their own government.
Trump's order would end the policy of automatically granting citizenship to people born in the United States. That's a move he said on the campaign trail he would do once he was in office.
We're the only country in the world that does this with birthright, as you know. And it's just absolutely ridiculous.
Platkin and immigrants' rights groups point to the 14th Amendment of the Constitution. It says people born in the U.S. and subject to its jurisdiction are citizens, saying it's clear that it applies to people whose parents were not legally citizens at the time of their birth.
The human cost of this order would be devastating. It would create a permanent underclass of American-born individuals who would be stateless, born here, but citizens nowhere. It would separate families, with some siblings being citizens and others not, based solely on their parents' status at the time of their birth.
I'm Haya Panjwani.
Along with pardons and emergencies declared for the borders and energy, President Trump is dismantling former President Biden's federal DEI programs. Lisa Dwyer has that story.
President Donald Trump has ordered a sweeping dismantling of the federal government's diversity and inclusion programs. The order gives all federal agencies 60 days to close all offices and positions dedicated to diversity, equity, and inclusion, and dismantle or reform diversity-related grants and contracts. It's the first move in an aggressive campaign to upend DEI efforts nationwide, including leveraging the Justice Department and other agencies to investigate private companies pursuing training and hiring practices that conservative critics consider discriminatory against non-minority groups such as white men. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
A deeper dive into Trump tax cuts when America in the Morning continues after these messages. America in the Morning continues. The Business Report is brought to you by Fisher Investments. Fisher Investments takes a disciplined approach with investing, helping clients navigate volatile markets. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com. Markets react to Trump's first day back on the job. Here's CNBC's Jessica Ettinger.
Wall Street opens this morning after a winning day for President Trump's first full day back in office. Investors liked what they felt was the president's softer tone on tariffs. Tariffs are widely believed to be an inflation risk. Investors really don't want that. Some say uncertainty is still the theme, though.
We may have alleviated some of the tariff-related uncertainty in terms of what got announced on day one, but it was even later in the day on day one that the administration came out and said they're still planning on going ahead with tariffs on imports from Canada and Mexico. So the uncertainty is not past us for sure.
Schwab's Liz Ann Saunders on CNBC. The Dow gained 500 points yesterday. It's back above 44,000 to start trading this morning. Bitcoin was higher, up to $106,000. Gas prices are higher after that pop in oil prices over the past few weeks. Netflix raising prices again here in the U.S. Its shares zoomed up 10% last night in after-hours trading on blowout new subscriber numbers, a really strong quarter after that Paul versus Tyson fight and Squid Game Season 2.
They say we are adjusting prices today across most plans in the U.S., Canada, Portugal, and Argentina. There had been some expectations of a price hike. Now we have that news.
CNBC's Julia Borston. United Airlines shares were up in after-hours trading last night. Revenue strong in the last quarter. NVIDIA surpassed Apple yesterday to become the world's most valuable company. Its shares were up 3%. Some experts believe that President Trump's big priority is not just immigration or tariffs, it's cutting taxes again, after he makes sure his tax cuts from 2017 stick.
No secret that Trump tax cuts of 2017, many are set to expire at the end of this year. With the unified Republican Congress, the president is going to drive toward a very large economic package that will make permanent many of those tax cuts and also drive toward delivering the promises he made in the campaign. No tax on tips, no tax on Social Security benefits, and many others that I think that will ultimately be included in that one large package, which will be done by reconciliation. Which just means that only Republicans are necessary to be able to pass the bill.
In-Camera Solutions CEO Chris Campbell, he's a former assistant secretary in the Treasury Department on CNBC. On today's watch list, earnings are coming from Johnson & Johnson, Procter & Gamble, Travelers, and Discover. The World Economic Forum continues in Davos, Switzerland. Samsung hosts its annual Galaxy Unpacked new product event today.
CNBC's Jessica Ettinger with the Wednesday Report. Top administration official loses Secret Service protection and a check on gas prices. When America in the Morning continues after these messages. Welcome back. You're with America in the Morning. President Trump's national security advisor during his first term says his Secret Service protection was stopped with the start of Trump's second term. Correspondent Clayton Neville reports.
Former National Security Advisor under President Trump, John Bolton, said on social media that the president ended Bolton's Secret Service protection. He said that he's disappointed but not surprised by the move and insisted there are still threats against him. He said the Justice Department filed criminal charges against an Iranian Revolutionary Guard official back in 2022 for attempting to hire a hitman to target Bolton, and he insisted that threat remains today. The White House hasn't commented on Bolton's statement, but Trump and Bolton have had a public falling out. Bolton worked as Trump's national security advisor from 2018 to 2019 and was outspoken after leaving office about Trump's policies, including saying that the president was unfit for office. I'm Clayton Neville.
Your eyes are not deceiving you at the gas pump. Gasoline prices are on the rise, jumping nearly 6 cents nationwide in the past week to an average of $3.12 for regular grade. Some areas have seen spikes, including a leap of 25 cents a gallon in the Baltimore area, 12 cents in Michigan and Ohio, 11 cents in New Jersey, and 8 cents in Montana. Hawaii's $4.54 a gallon and California's $4.44 a gallon gas are the only states above $4. 25 states have gas averaging below $3, with Mississippi's $2.68 regular grade pricing the lowest in the nation. Covering what's happening across the country, this is America in the Morning for Wednesday, January 22nd, 2025, produced by Jeff McKay. I'm John Trout. This is Westwood One. This is America in the Morning from Westwood One. I'm John Trout. Coming up this half hour.
Marco Rubio begins his first day as Secretary of State as Donald Trump's pick for UN ambassador has her day before the Senate. I'm John Stolness in Washington.
Walking back Biden administration policies at the border. I'm Clayton Neville.
California wildfires could have toxic effects, a border agent killed in Vermont, and an interfaith service turns controversial.
A warning from our neighbor to the north on Trump-imposed tariffs. I'm Bob Brown. That story coming up next.
Project Stargate gives big power to AI. I'm tech correspondent Chuck Palm.
When it comes to TV ratings, Donald Trump's inauguration was far from a landslide. I'm Jeff McKay.
Back after these messages. America in the Morning continues. What's happening in the national forecast today? Here's AccuWeather.com meteorologist Matt Rindy.
There will be a clipper system moving through the northern plains states from northern Minnesota into northern Wisconsin and Michigan. This is going to produce a little bit of snow along its path. Some snow showers will extend a little farther south along the cold front from that system through parts of eastern Nebraska, Iowa, northern Missouri, and northern Illinois. However, this will lessen the lake effect snow for a time, offering a chance to clean up after another round of 2 to 3 feet of snow. Farther south, the historic storm moving through the Gulf Coast states will be exiting first thing this morning. There'll still be some leftover snow and sleet through portions of the southeast coast from North Carolina into Florida. But even as wintry precipitation comes to an end, the rain will continue along the cold front through central and southern Florida. In the wake of this system, it is going to remain cold for the rest of the eastern part of the nation, from the southeast into the eastern Great Lakes and continuing into the northeast. Most of the areas outside of the Great Lakes will have plenty of sunshine, but afternoon highs will only climb into the single digits and teens in parts of New England and New York, 20s and 30s through the Ohio Valley into most of Mississippi, Alabama, and Georgia, though a few areas may sneak into the 40s. This is about 10 to 20 degrees below the historical average. Another system dipping southward from Canada will lead to a few snow showers through eastern Montana into Wyoming and then into the Dakotas and western Minnesota. And there will also be a few snow showers through parts of the Wyoming and Colorado Rockies, but the rest of the West will be seeing drier weather with afternoon temperatures ranging from the 30s and 40s in the north to mid-70s in Southern California into Arizona. There will be some Santa Ana wind concerns across Southern California with regular gusts 40 to 60 miles per hour and an AccuWeather local storm max up to 80 miles per hour. That's the nation's weather. I'm AccuWeather.com meteorologist Matt Rindy.
Follow us wherever you get your podcasts. Apple, Spotify, Amazon, and YouTube. Just search America in the Morning in your favorite listening app. I'm John Trout. Marco Rubio became the first member of President Donald Trump's cabinet to be confirmed by the full Senate, as other members are close to joining him or answering questions from senators this week. John Stolnis has the latest on confirmations from Washington.
Speaking to employees at the State Department yesterday, Rubio said he aims to live up to the expectations of President Trump and his predecessors.
It is an honor to be able to lead this agency. I hope to do it with distinction and with integrity, working harder than anyone ever has at this role. And that will not be easy because some pretty hardworking people have come before me. But I know that we are up to the task.
Rubio also described how he plans to approach the job.
One of the primary goals of American foreign policies is the promotion of peace. Of course, peace through strength, peace and always without abandoning our values. But I think it's extraordinary that it's something that needs to be said and hasn't been said enough in recent memory.
Rubio was confirmed by the full Senate unanimously 99-0, one vote short of the full 100, as Vice President J.D. Vance's seat remains open. Trump's pick for UN Ambassador, Elise Stefanik, sat before members of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee.
The purpose of the United Nations is to maintain international peace and security, develop friendly relations among nations based on a shared respect for the principle of equal rights, solve international problems, and harmonize the actions of nations in the attainment of common ends. The UN has not lived up to this founding mission, and we must demand better.
Democratic ranking member Jeanne Shaheen voiced concerns over previous votes by Stefanik as a member of Congress to defund the UN. Stefanik said U.S. funding of the UN must be closely scrutinized.
Our tax dollars should not be complicit in propping up entities that are counter to American interests, anti-Semitic, or engaging in fraud, corruption, or terrorism.
Meanwhile, Trump's pick for Defense Secretary, Pete Hegseth, cleared the Armed Services Committee along party lines on Monday. But senators are now considering an affidavit sent to them by his ex-sister-in-law, saying that Hegseth's behavior toward his second wife caused his wife to fear for her safety. Hegseth's lawyers say the ex-sister-in-law, who was married to Hegseth's brother, is a far-left Democrat with an axe to grind. Samantha Hegseth, his former wife, denies the claims made in the affidavit. A full floor vote for Hegseth's confirmation has not been scheduled as of yet. John Stolnis, Washington.
The Department of Homeland Security is allowing Immigration and Customs Enforcement to apprehend illegal immigrants in places where doing so was not allowed under the Biden administration. Correspondent Clayton Neville explains.
DHS issued memos this week essentially repealing limitations put in place for ICE agents under former DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas. It's part of President Trump's plan to crack down on illegal immigration and carry out mass deportations.
The open border policies of the Biden administration have been an unmitigated disaster from a public health standpoint and a public safety standpoint. And many of our border communities have simply been overwhelmed and overrun just by the sheer volume of people coming from all around the world.
Texas's senior Senator John Cornyn praised President Trump's crackdown on the Senate floor this week and is hopeful it'll make a difference.
He designated the cartels that smuggle the people and the drugs into the country as foreign terrorist organizations. He directed the Departments of State and the Homeland Security to resume the migrant protection protocols, otherwise known as the Remain in Mexico program.
Under the Biden administration, protected areas were designated where illegal immigrants could not be taken into custody. Those areas included universities, schools, hospitals, food banks, religious services, and other events and places. With the new guidance, though, federal officials say officers should use discretion, along with a healthy dose of common sense. Border Czar Tom Homan told Fox News the process of mass deportations is underway.
ICE teams are out there as of today. We gave them the direction to prioritize public safety threats that we're looking for. So we've been working up the target list.
Another memo issued by DHS this week reportedly surrounds humanitarian parole. It's now to be used on a case-by-case basis. Republican critics say the Biden administration abused that statute to allow migrants into the country. I'm Clayton Neville.
Update from California. A new wildfire near San Diego is prompting evacuations due to the strong Santa Ana winds propelling the fire. Meanwhile, Los Angeles remains on high alert despite fire crews gaining the upper hand on several blazes. And correspondent Haya Panjwani reports there's a new concern: toxic ash.
If it's safe for you to go back, the authorities are allowing you back. Just make sure you're wearing gloves, long sleeved shirts, long pants, socks your pants are tucked into the socks, and wearing a very well-fitted mask, like a respirator, so you're not breathing in that pollution.
As some people in the Los Angeles area return to what's left of their homes after the wildfires, experts are warning about possible dangers of the ash that's left behind.
This firestorm left behind serious health and environmental impacts that hundreds of U.S. EPA personnel are assessing for removal.
The blazes unleashed complex chemical reactions on paint, furniture, building materials, cars, electronics, and other belongings. That turned ordinary objects into potentially toxic ash that requires protective equipment to handle safely.
I'm issuing an executive order to shore up burn areas and stem the flow of toxic debris in the event of rain this weekend. This is to prevent additional damage to areas already ravished by fire, and also to protect our watershed, beaches, and ocean from toxic runoff.
California State University professor Jackson Webster warns that you don't want to interact with them.
You could be being exposed to specific things such as lead and asbestos.
Experts like Lisa Patel with the Stanford School of Medicine are also concerned about where the ash ultimately ends up.
It's hard to say in this soup what of it is safe and what's not, because if the individual item itself is safe, it's probably coated with the chemicals from all the other things around it that have burned.
I'm Haya Panjwani.
Trump issues tariff timeline when America in the Morning continues after these messages. America in the Morning continues. I'm John Trout. Authorities are investigating after a U.S. Border Patrol agent was killed during a traffic stop. It happened in Vermont on Interstate 91 near the U.S.-Canadian border. U.S. Customs and Border Protection says the agent was shot and killed in the line of duty near the town of Coventry, about 20 miles south of the Canadian border. Police say one suspect in the shooting, who was described as a German national, was killed. Another suspect, a U.S. citizen, was injured and is in police custody. Agent David Milland, age 44, becomes the first border agent to die on the line of duty since 2012. Our show continues. In less than 2 weeks, major trading partners with the United States are expected to be slapped with tariffs on imported goods. Correspondent Bob Brown explains what that means for you and I.
President Trump is moving ahead with his plans to impose a 25% tariff on goods imported from Mexico and Canada.
Tariffs, properly used, which we will do, and being reciprocal with other nations, but it'll make our country rich.
Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, who will leave office this year, spells out the facts.
Canadian energy powers American manufacturing, businesses, and homes. Of America's top 5 trading partners, Canada is the only one with whom the United States runs a trade surplus in manufacturing. And Canada buys more goods made by Americans than China, Japan, and Germany combined.
So how does this affect you? Economists say you'll pay more to buy a car, and parts will cost more when you bring it in for service. The Commerce Department says the U.S. imported $87 billion worth of motor vehicles and $64 billion worth of vehicle parts from Mexico last year. Filling your tank will cost more. The U.S. imported $97 billion worth of oil and gas from Canada last year. Alcohol, fruits, and vegetables will cost more, especially if you love those avocados from Mexico. The Department of Agriculture says last year the U.S. imported $46 billion of agricultural products from Mexico and nearly $3 billion of avocados. The tariffs take effect February 1st. I'm Bob Brown.
President Trump says he plans on enacting 10% tariffs on goods made in China starting February 1st, and said that EU nations had a troubling trade surplus with America. Trump heard a plea at a church service wrapping up 4 days of inauguration-related events. Washington correspondent Sagar Meghani has that story.
President Trump has wrapped up 4 days of inaugural-related events with a traditional church service and a message from one of the speakers. During an interfaith service at Washington National Cathedral,
I ask you to have mercy upon the people in our country who are scared now.
The Reverend Mary Ann Buddy, Washington's Episcopal bishop, urged the president to show compassion for LGBTQ+ people and undocumented workers.
The vast majority of immigrants are not criminals.
Asked about the service after returning here,
not too exciting, was it? I didn't think it was a good service, no. Thank you very much.
Thank you, press. Thank you, press.
They can do much better.
Sagar Meghani at the White House.
A new joint venture with a $500 billion price tag will add a ton of power to AI data centers and will be backed by some heavy hitters. Chuck Palm has that in today's Tech News.
President Trump had a busy second day in office announcing a joint venture for AI data centers called Stargate. The $500 billion fund, intended for infrastructure for artificial intelligence, will be run by Oracle co-founder Larry Ellison, SoftBank CEO Masayoshi Son, and OpenAI CEO Sam Altman. According to a statement on the OpenAI website, ARM, Microsoft, NVIDIA, Oracle, and OpenAI are the key technology partners. Oracle's Larry Ellison had this to say.
So imagine early cancer detection, the development of a cancer vaccine for your particular cancer aimed at you, and have that vaccine available in 48 hours. This is the promise of AI and the promise of the future.
Trump said the first of 20 data centers is already under construction in Texas, and Project Stargate would create more than 100,000 jobs in the United States. An additional announcement by the SEC for a task force investigating crypto sent Bitcoin prices soaring to $109,000. Follow me on X at Chuck Palm.
Wednesday Sports is in. Here's America in the Morning's Robert Workman.
Ichiro Suzuki, CC Sabathia, and Billy Wagner have been elected to baseball's Hall of Fame. Ichiro was named on 393 of 394 ballots from sports writers, giving him the third highest vote percentage ever. The first Japanese-born player to go to Cooperstown, he amassed more than 3,000 hits, despite not making his major league debut until age 27. In fact, if you add in his Japanese league numbers, Ichiro actually had more hits in his career than Pete Rose. He won AL MVP and Rookie of the Year in 2001 for the Mariners. The rookie runner-up that season was Sabathia, the left-hander going on to win 251 games and strike out more than 3,000 batters, winning a Cy Young with Cleveland and a World Series with the Yankees. Both go into the Hall in their first year of eligibility, while Wagner, the fireballing closer, makes it on his 10th and final try. Wagner finished 8th all-time in saves and is the 9th reliever to get the nod and the first southpaw. NBA, the Nuggets nailed the 76ers 144-109, another triple-double for Nikola Jokic. Lakers licked the last-place Wizards, a triple-double for LeBron James. Washington has lost 11 in a row. NHL, the first-place Capitals squeaked past the Oilers 3-2 for their 5th straight win. Rangers shut out the Senators 5-0, 20 saves for Igor Shesterkin.
We had a great game tonight, so defensively, I think one of the best games in the season, and offensively too.
At the Australian Open, Novak Djokovic beat 3-seed Carlos Alcaraz in 4 sets to advance to the semifinals against Alex Zverev. The Joker is now just 2 matches away from his 11th Aussie title and a record 25th Grand Slam singles crown. That's Wednesday Sports.
Thank you, sir. A look at the Razzies, part of what we're covering next when America in the Morning continues after these messages. This is America in the Morning. The ratings are in for Donald Trump's inauguration this week. America in the Morning's Jeff McKay has a look at the numbers.
24.5 million people sounds like a lot, but not when it comes to an inauguration. The numbers from Nielsen are out, and 24.5 million people viewed Donald Trump's 2025 inauguration. But that was below the more than 30 million who tuned into Trump's first inauguration in 2017, and far less than the nearly 34 million who watched Joe Biden take the oath of office in 2021. According to Nielsen, 17 million viewers were above the age of 55 and just 1.5 million were aged 18 to 34. As for where the people were watching, Nielsen says of the 15 broadcast networks, Fox News walloped the competition with more than 10 million viewers, more than doubling second-place ABC and NBC News, which each had more than 4.5 million viewers. CNN had 2 million watchers, and MSNBC, less than 1 million people tuned in. It seems second inaugurations rarely exceed the first. Barack Obama's first inauguration in 2009 drew an average of about 38 million viewers throughout the day, but his second in 2013 captured just under 21 million. I'm Jeff McKay.
There were some great movies in 2024, but also some that bombed at the box office. Kevin Carr takes a look at the Razzies, the worst nominated films of the past year.
On Tuesday, nominations for the 45th Annual Golden Raspberry Awards were announced.
I got the sneaking suspicion that we're not giving the people what they want.
To no one's surprise, Todd Phillips' disastrous sequel, Joker: Folie à Deux, was dishonored with 6 nominations, including Worst Picture, Director, Actor, and Actress.
How about you, Arthur? Do you still think you're a star?
But it wasn't just the Joker's day.
Destiny awaits.
Eli Roth's big-budgeted video game bust Borderlands racked up as many noms, including Worst Picture, Director, and Actress.
Feel free to applaud.
The comic book misstep Madam Web, Francis Ford Coppola's fever dream Megalopolis, and the political biopic Reagan each received 6 nominations as well.
There's nothing a retired governor can do about the Soviets, but a president. Now you can do a thing or two.
Unfrosted and The Crow also got multiple nominations. Actual Oscar winners like Joker's Joaquin Phoenix and Borderlands' Cate Blanchett were nominated. Other notable nominations included Dennis Quaid for Reagan, Lady Gaga for Joker, Zachary Levi for Harold and the Purple Crayon, and Dakota Johnson for Madam Web.
I don't understand what's happening.
Newly named ambassador to Hollywood, Jon Voight was recognized for 4 films last year, including Megalopolis, Reagan, Shadowland, and Strangers. The Razzies will announce the winners the day before the Oscars on Saturday, March 1st. I'm Kevin Carr.
America in the Morning for Wednesday, January 22nd, 2025 is produced by Jeff McKay. I'm John Trout. This is Westwood One.